Here comes some knowledge to tickle your brainstem. Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. 99% of what the British Museum owns isn't on display. What is on public show amounts to just 1% of the institution's 8 million artifacts. The exercise paradox, also known as the workout paradox, refers to the finding that physical activity, while essential for maintaining overall health, does not necessarily lead to significant weight loss or increased calorie expenditure. In World War I, German and French soldiers would sometimes display live and let live behavior. Sometimes soldiers would refuse to target the other side, and at other times they would fire weapons ceremoniously and with no intent to harm the enemy. Professionals in psychology and related fields have long looked upon sarcasm negatively, particularly noting that sarcasm tends to be a maladaptive coping mechanism for those with unresolved anger or frustration. One psychologist even described it as hostility disguised as humor. Jamie Lee Curtis was given $200 to create Laurie Strode's wardrobe for the movie Halloween in 1978. She got her entire outfit from JCPenney. One of the longest writings preserved in Pompeii is the poem of a woman yearning for another woman. Food companies in America are allowed to mark a product as 0 calories if a single serving contains less than 5 calories, according to the FDA. The Ganges River receives around 19 billion gallons or 72 billion liters of sewage a day, most of which is untreated. In 1692, an 80-year-old from Livonia was called to court as a witness to a theft, but unprompted, he revealed that he was a werewolf who fought witches in hell, including his neighbor who broke his nose with a broomstick. The judge initially laughed it off, but the evidence forced them to take it seriously. Yes, that man is completely stable. Yes. The egg fried rice protests were a form of anti-government protest in China, where internet users post recipes for fried rice on October 24th and November 25th. This is in reference to the birth and death of the son of Mao Zedong, who died from a bomb whilst cooking outside during the Korean War. In England in the Middle Ages, a fugitive could claim sanctuary simply by touching the knocker on the outer door of a church to be immune from arrest. The current flag of South Africa is only 30 years old and was only designed a few weeks prior to it being officially hoisted on the 27th of April 1994. Four-time World's Strongest Man winner Jan Paul Sigmarsson, who famously stated there is no reason to be alive if you can't do a deadlift, died at the age of 32 while deadlifting in the gym. From 1170 to 1512, the neck verse could save someone from punishment for almost any crime in England. Literate accusees or criminals who had simply memorized Psalm 51:3 would recite it to claim the benefit of clergy, meaning that they would be tried by the much more lenient church courts. The Mexican Communist Party was founded by Indian activist M.N. Roy. However, post-World War II, Roy lost his faith in traditional Marxism and adopted something known as radical humanism, which is a blend of socialism and liberalism. Kabaddi was an ancient contact sport where each turn is one breath. Players chant Kabaddi continuously to prove they aren't inhaling on their turn. Kabaddi, Kabaddi, hey! On January 19, 1876, chunks of red meat fell from the sky in a 100 by 50 yard or 90 by 45 meter area near Olympia Springs in Bath County, Kentucky. The incident was called the Kentucky Meat Shower. Owls don't have eyeballs, they have eye tubes. This is why they have to turn their whole heads instead of just their eyes. There's a type of Japanese water beetle that can, when eaten by a frog, swim through the frog's digestive tract and escape through its anus. Nvidia's unofficial company motto is, "Our company is 30 days from going out of business." In 2021, a woman named Tessica Brown ran out of her regular hairspray and used Gorilla Glue spray instead, believing it to be hairspray. This resulted in her hair becoming stuck to her scalp, but eventually a plastic surgeon performed a 4-hour-long surgical procedure on her for free to remove the adhesive. A sculpture commemorating Gangnam Style was erected in the eponymous district in Seoul, South Korea. It consists of 2 giant hands in the horse riding gesture from the music video and plays the song when people stand under it. Ice skating in England dates all the way back to at least the 12th century, when people used bone skates to get around the fens in winter. All Medal of Honor recipients receive a special license plate, which is state dependent, to display on on their vehicle. The Hershey Kiss paper is called a plume, and it's actually edible. Autumn color vibrancy depends on temperature variation balance. For example, sunny days with cool, crispy, but not freezing nights result in best colors. Daylight produces sugars. Cool nights break down chlorophyll or green colors. Non-freezing temperatures trap the sugar in the leaves, and sugar concentration leads to color. The British Empire was the largest in human history, about 6 times larger than the Roman Empire, occupying close to a quarter of the world. Agent 355 is one of the first female spies for the US. She was active during the Revolution, but her identity remains secret. In fact, there's an ongoing speculation whether she existed at all. However, many assert that she was real. In World War I, half of the French army mutinied in 1917. Soldiers remained in trenches, but refused orders to attack after the failure of the Nivelle offensive, which General Nivelle promised a 48-hour victory. The mutinies were heavily suppressed by the French and were not fully disclosed until 1967. Scientists were blown away when they found a 1700-year-old chicken egg in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire, with the yolk and egg white still inside. It's thought to be the only one of its kind. There's a fruit that tastes just like chocolate pudding. It's a fruit native to Central and South America called black sapote that tastes like chocolate and sweet custard. The Ovsiankina effect describes the innate human urge to finish tasks that we've initiated. This tendency to resume an interrupted action is especially prevalent when an action hasn't been achieved. Despite being slightly smaller than our moon, Europa is thought to have twice the amount of water here on Earth. Dumbo octopuses are named after the famous Disney elephant. They live at least 13,100 feet or 4,000 meters below the surface. Dumbo octopuses move by slowly flapping their ear-like fins, and they use their arms to steer. Pineapple Express is more than just a drug reference and a movie. It's also a weather phenomenon that brings moisture from Hawaii to the Pacific Northwest. The A26 motorway in France is so heavily used by British holidaymakers that it's officially nicknamed Autoroute des Anglais, or Motorway of the English. This is the skeleton of a dire wolf, which is sometimes easy to identify compared to other Canis specimens because of the baculum or penis bone of the dire wolf, because it's very different from that of all other living canids. In 1066, the last male member of the House of Wessex was elected King of England, but was never crowned due to the Norman conquest that occurred shortly after. Related to that, Halley's Comet was seen in England in 1066, the year of the Norman conquest, being interrupted as an omen, with a contemporary observer referring to it as a source of tears to many mothers, portending the downfall of my country. The Old Testament was not written with the same Hebrew alphabet that's used today. It was written using the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet. Almost all of the cryogenically preserved bodies were thawed and disposed of after the cryonic facilities went out of business. Antarctica, if it were a country, would be the second largest country, with a landmass of 5.5 million miles squared or 14.2 million kilometers squared. In some regions, eating hippo meat can be dangerous due to their susceptibility to anthrax, which can transmit to humans. Even mild dehydration can lower your focus, memory, and mood. Make sure you're hydrating. The Ada programming language was designed in 1977 to replace 450 programming languages used by the US Department of Defense at the time. Shortly before artist Keith Haring died, he formed a charitable foundation that now owns all of his copyrights. The money from licensing his work goes to unprivileged children and AIDS-related charities. Dian Fossey, the conservationist who lived with gorillas for several years, was killed while doing research in Rwanda, most likely due to her lifelong crusade against poaching. There's a supercar vending machine in Singapore that dispenses Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Every Lego minifigure had the exact same head shape for the first 21 years of minifigure production, limiting what the characters could do. It wasn't until 1999 in the Jar Jar Binks minifigure for Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace that Lego finally introduced sculpted headpieces for its minifigures. Newborn babies can contract herpes via contact with a person suffering from a cold sore, and this is fatal in some cases. Hey, thanks for watching. Click either of the links on screen now to watch more. Remember to follow me on Twitch because I'm live every day, link is in the description, and consider becoming a member for more exclusive content and 24-hour advanced access to all new videos. I'll see you next time.